This episode of The Republic is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and to receive a free audiobook, just head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker. Gamebreaker TV. I kind of sung that live right there. I don't know why.
Wonderful singing voice you have.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Republic, episode 170 for January 30th, 2013. I'm Gary Gannon, and I'm literally drowning in news stories over here, so please send help. Throw me a life preserver. Sarcasm. Joining me to try and wade through the flood of information we've got for you this week, BioWare have been all over it from massively. Mr. Larry Everett, how are you?
I'm all right. I am so excited about the amount of news that we have. I can't contain. I have to get into this place of zen because
so
of
much.
how much news we have.
We can't waste
right
any
now.
time. We
Right.
can't waste any time. And of course, joining us as always, Laura Williams. How are ya?
Hey, I survived snow-ocalypse.
Snow-ocalypse!
And we got like 7 inches of snow here. And I just had
is
2 days of snow days from work. It was pretty awesome.
The weather is ridiculous. Wait, first of all, what is that why we have so much amazing news out of the BioWare camp? Are they on vacation or are they just snowed in? It was literally...
I don't think they got any snow, but they got some ice. And some hail.
8 posts on the dev tracker. 8.
Yeah.
None of them are very
8.
interesting. Maybe they're snowed in. It's too cold. Have you seen Atlanta?
You mean Hotlanta?
Hotlanta.
And I can't really take credit for that. Someone in our guild who lives in there, he was like, oh my god, it's like living on Hoth.
2 inches of snow and it's like Hoth.
It's really bad. AMC are actually doing a show on it. They're making a 1 inch of snow.
No, it's amazing. It's the apocalypse. So.
I'm ready for it. I got plenty of water, guns. Ready.
That's right.
No, we actually do have a couple things to talk about this week. There's a few things. Pulled a bunch of hot topics, from the forums to go over, because that's always a good place to pull topics from.
Absolutely. There is.
Where you get the news.
It's
Forums.
the most wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Are we
Second
editing anything
only
in the
to Mos
background this
Eisley.
week? What's going on in the back? No, we're not editing anything
I
today?
don't know what he's doing. He just got up and left. He's like, screw this news. I'm out.
He didn't like our bad puns.
So the first, let's see, first of all, the classic MMORPG problem, getting kicked from a group because your gear sucks. Everybody hates it. I'm going to assume that in a good guild, you guys don't really run the risk of that. Do you ever kick people in the guild from a group because of gear?
Only Laura.
Oh. Wow.
We're just
Wow.
nice about it, though. We're like,
Larry, you should put some armor on right now, because I sense that you're going to get bitch slapped the rest of the entire episode.
Actually, I can't say too much. My assassin, when that was leveling up, was pretty undergeared, and I was like, who wants to help me run through Flashpoints and learn how to tank?
Larry's like, not
Yeah.
me. But how about outside of the guild? Is it a problem? Like, is it prevalent in the game that this is like a big problem? Are people undergeared?
it can be an issue I don't find it in operations, but then I really don't run operations outside of the guild, to be perfectly honest. So, but I have seen issues in Flashpoints and those kinds of things with people that are horribly undergeared, and I have no idea why they think it's okay to hop into a Flashpoint. I mean, honestly, it really should not be ever be
Is it
an
that
issue
hard to
for you
gear?
No, it's not
it
at all.
really isn't.
Absolutely not. Yeah, all you have to do, seriously, all you have to do is go to Oricon, do all the quests in Oricon. You're ready for Flashpoints. Done. But
I feel like maybe they need to put a little pop-up window that says, hey, go to Oricon and get free gear, because remember pre-Rise of the
That's
Heart
right.
Cartel, they put in something and they said, okay, if you go to this terminal on the fleet, then you can get a free set of like starter PvE gear to go run flashpoints, and it was teenies. So, you know, I think maybe since they didn't put that back in with Rise of the Hut Cartel, and they threw all that stuff on the, you know, out in Oricon where you can get pretty much a full set of basic level gear, they need to have a little pop-up window that says, okay, congratulations, you made it to 55. Now go to Oricon and get your starter gear.
Speaking of Oricon, we did a top 5 creepiest spots in MMOs, and Oricon made number 4.
It is really creepy.
It is really creepy.
Melted skull heads and like bodies hanging.
Yeah.
Really
Good choice.
Dark. Good choice, right?
Yeah. Although one of the Rakghoul flashpoints, the Rise of the Rakghoul flashpoint is it's pretty darn creepy too. It's flashlighty.
So is that the advice you can give players? Go to Oricon?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. It should be, like Laura was saying, it should be a huge pop-up that once you hit 55, go to Oricon
Just
now.
a pop-up.
Do not
GPS.
ask go. Do not collect $200. Go to Oricon. Really, because it's it'll seriously gear you up. I mean, it's blue gear. It's level 66, which is exactly
no, not even that. It's purple gear.
Is it purple gear? Sorry,
it's
purple
the
gear.
old basic gear that they took off of the vendor when they put in Dread Fortress and Dread Palace.
Yeah.
And all the gear got bumped down a token tier.
Yeah, and it puts you right on par with doing flashpoints, no matter what.
So what do you think? People just don't realize that it's actually there?
They may not. I mean, like I said before, the last time that they gave gear to people at level 55, they, you know, you got a big quest that popped up and said, hey, here you go. Click on this
Free
terminal
gear.
and get a box of gear.
Well, there you go. Go to Oricon. Get to 55, get to Oricon. Next topic, complaints about killing quest NPCs on Corellia. So now the people in the thread seem to think it's a bug, which it probably isn't, right?
Yeah, no, I think it is a bug for the quest NPCs. It might be like an oversight in the quest design. You can go to most areas, opposite faction areas, and kill NPCs in general, but most quest NPCs are off limits. So, yeah, I think this one's a bug.
Really?
It's funny though.
You usually, because you can't
usually
do it. Since you usually can't kill them, and you can't kill any of them here. I don't know. Is it? You think it's a bug?
I didn't realize that you couldn't kill them. I just assumed everything showed up red. I mean, not that I've ever gone into the Republic's base and tried to gank all of their people standing around, but you know, there's usually things that are red that you can attack.
Yeah.
So
No,
I be able to take out the quest givers too.
I go to because when I set up roleplay events, I go to different areas, especially like Republic-owned areas if I'm Imperial, which I usually am on the Imperial side. So I'll go to Republic-owned areas and check out that area to see if is this going to be good for a roleplay setup, because everything's going to be higher level, going to be 55, it's going to be champions, so it will be more interesting for the guys doing the roleplay scenario to run in there and kill those mobs. And I've noticed whenever I go into those areas that there will a lot of NPCs will be attackable. A good chunk of them will be attackable, but there are certain ones that are still green to you, even as an Imperial, because they are, I'm assuming, quest-giving NPCs, and I usually can't kill those. Huh?
How do you feel about that? How do you guys feel about like killing NPCs? I mean, killing speeder vendors, that sort of thing.
I think it's annoying, but I think that it's something that happens. I mean, I would imagine that this would be happening a lot on PvP servers.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! If they respawn fast enough, that would be awesome. In fact, I remember when Gabe Amatangelo was talking about Tatooine and Outlaw's Den. He actually talked about the vendor that you could kill. There's the Gamorrean vendor that's in Outlaw's Den. You can actually kill him, and you can actually grief somebody who's buying something by killing the vendor.
Well, that would kind of support PvP, world PvP.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I don't know.
As long as it respawns
It's annoying to
fast
kill the
enough.
taxi. Like, that's kind of the only thing. Yeah, that's really the only thing that would kind of be super annoying to me is I'm trying to go somewhere and suddenly I can't get there because they killed the flight droid.
I mean, yeah, you could have some high-level people essentially like hold the entire area hostage. You know, Lobi's run into the running to the fleet for help and trying to get people to come back. Now all of a sudden it's Eve. Now all of a sudden I just created a
Call your
sandbox.
guildies.
That's it. Okay, BioWare, if you're listening, make everything attackable. You just created a new game. You just created a new game.
Just let everybody just break the entire thing. I wonder if they get separated out by server. One person.
Well, like I said, I would expect that this probably happens frequently on PvP servers. I mean, I can't say that it's happened on our server, but I would be surprised since we're in
it's
our
a different type of
role-play
player,
PvE.
right? I mean, one person's like griefing is like another person's content, so
it's true.
Yeah, see there, Tenebris says their boss town near Nightmare Program used to get griefed. So it's not uncommon. It happens.
All right, next up, something I feel surprisingly hasn't been brought up very much. Maybe just because it's not going to happen. New classes.
Yay, new class.
I don't think anybody's expecting new class stories, but we could get a new class in an expansion.
Maybe.
If they ever launch that box expansion.
You're not you're not sounding too confident, Lair.
Man, I as much as I really, really want it to happen, as much as I want Alexander Freed to come back on and rewrite write a Republic side of the agent story, I would. I just can't see it happening. I mean, I know it's really funny that, I mean, you would think that maybe it could happen because, according to, forgot who wrote it, but they did a survey of free-to-play games and who was making the most money, and Star Wars was on that list.
Yeah, it was up there pretty high. It was like third or fourth.
Right, and so, I mean, the thing is making some money, and I would think that I would hope they'd be able to hire a writer or two to do some class stories, and then send that over to the content designers and see what can happen. I would. And
it's not like you need. It's not like you need 50 levels of story. I mean, just look at Death to the Death Knight from World of Warcraft. I mean, that's a perfectly acceptable way to introduce a brand new class at a high level. So.
Well, I mean, as far as story content is concerned, I mean, really per planet you have like 3 or 4 quests, really, per planet that are your story quests. So it's not. It's conceivable, and it can. I think it can be done if they just want to, toss the money that direction.
They're making so. I mean, I'm trying to remember the number now, but they were like third or fourth on the list, and I feel like they made like
319 million,
319 million,
something like that. Yeah.
It was now they probably
I'm gonna have to look
breaking it in.
Yeah, it was pretty surprising. I mean, for a lot of people who. I mean, it definitely, for those who didn't know it, that they were on that list, I mean, it definitely shut a lot of people up thinking that Star Wars The Old Republic is not doing too well. So, I mean, they're doing quite all right. They're at the top of the list. We got to see an expansion in 2014, though, don't we? There's no way. Yeah, and I think it's got to happen.
I would imagine that we're going to see or hear something towards the end of the year.
You think it's going to be that far? It's got to come out by the end of the year.
Well, I mean, what was it, like 9 months between Hot Cartel and Starfighter?
Yeah, roughly about 9 months.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's not a full box, we'll see some other like mini expansion.
139 million. I got the right numbers, just in the wrong order.
Dyslexia. It's right.
Yeah.
No problem. 130, 300. Yeah, maybe they'll just not go for the full expansion route and just kind of like opt out, not do the whole class thing at all, and just kind of leave it out and kind of go with these like smaller expansions that don't really necessarily have to have a class involved. And maybe that's okay that they break the mold. I don't know. I mean, if anyone's going to break the mold, it might as well be Star Wars, at this point with the ups and downs that it's sort of had, reinventing itself.
Yeah,
What kind of classes? Well, what kind of classes do you think would be on the crazy wall right now? If you got to look at the wall of crazy, what do you think would be at the top of the list for possibilities?
Imperial Trooper. That'd be a good one. I think what else would be a good one? Some sort of ISS agent on the Republic side. So Imperial Trooper, ISS agent on the Republic side. That would be great. So
no! I got it better. I got a much better one. So I went totally old school, flipping through my old, well, actually it's days old, Star Wars role-playing books, original edition and second edition.
Wow, look at that.
I'm thinking
Her husband's a
tech
nerd.
specialist.
Tech specialist?
Tech specialist. Think controller from like City of Heroes, something that's buff, debuff, and secondary ranged. Pet class where they can drop turrets, they can have little droid armies that they summon to go and attack, huge debuffs for mobs, lots of crowd control, lots of AoE. That's what I'm going with.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. I don't know. What about the Imperial Guard?
That's a good one. Absolutely. I'm on board with that.
Maybe Imperial Guard. I don't know. I like Laura's better. Pet class would be cool. What about?
I don't know if they do an Imperial Guard. I want it to be like Terrakazi pikemen, kind of.
I mean, you got these guys.
That's right.
That's
good.
This. How many? What about? Oh, we gotta stop a second and talk about the other news really quick. What about the Sony Online teaser of SWG Vets? You're gonna be coming home.
I don't know. After the way that Sony has treated a lot of their games, I don't really know that I ever want to give them money again, ever.
All right, if we want to entertain this topic.
Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts. I mean, you were both big SW Star Wars Galaxies players.
Yeah.
So the story is, John Smiley, CEO, did a Reddit AMA last, I think it was last week, a couple days ago.
Yeah,
that was this week, a
yep.
couple days ago. And mentioned in there that I don't have the tweet in front of me. I could find it. And said something to the effect of, SWG Vets, stay tuned, I'm paraphrasing, we're going to have a place for you to call home. So immediately speculation started going, like, is it a Star Wars game? Is it not a Star Wars game? It's not a Star Wars game. That has been cleared up. It is not a Star Wars game. But it sounds as if SOE are obviously sitting down to start developing some sort of sci-fi MMO with some of the, I guess, philosophies and designs structure that Star Wars Galaxies had. I thought that, but then what's weird is that I feel like there was a follow-up. Larry, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Like, he said Star Wars Vets, like, you're going to have a place to come home. And then I feel like a day or two later, there was like a tweet or something that said, well, it's going to be radically different from Star Wars Galaxies. Like, it's going to be designed. And I was like, well, what is it? Like, just we is it, like, SWG Vets want SWG. Like, is it going to be totally different?
I think some of the things that he's trying to clarify here is that it's not going to be SWG 2, so don't expect that. But and he's also saying that it's not a Star Wars IP either. It's not going to carry that. But the thing is, I think what he is thinking, and what the thought behind, he said, once we launch it, you can come home now, is actually what he said. So what he's thinking is that they've got this design philosophy that will welcome SWG players. And now I know Smedley has changed a lot.
What does that entail for you? Like, what does that mean? Like, like, what does
I
it
don't know
have
if they make it similar to how SWG was, where you have basically points and you can pick whatever you want to start, like whatever type of, I guess, base class you want to start with, and then you can accrue points and choose to spend them however. I mean, I don't think I've seen another MMO that's done something similar to that since Star Wars Galaxies. That would be fun to play again.
But is that really what makes you want to come home? A point system? Like, does that really?
Right. I think the biggest thing that now, if I were to take what I think the SWG philosophy is and why that worked, was Raph Koster's actual core design of specifically the economy and those kinds of things, and how everything was interconnected, and it all felt like you felt like you were a small piece in a bigger world, which was, so you could be a Jedi or you could be Uncle Owen. You had all that range of, that range.
And
range of possibilities.
That's a big question, because the game changed so dramatically. Like, do most players even remember or know what pre-CU, pre-combat upgrade.
Right.
Pre-NG, that's pre-NGE. I'm talking about pre-combat upgrade, which was first.
Right.
Wait, was that? Yeah, because it was
Yeah.
CU, then it was the new gaming experience. And before that, it was almost like a completely different game. It was just set in Star Wars, but it like wasn't even the same game. So you got so many questions of who is this talking to? Is this talking to me, who would get excited about it if it's like, you know, pre-CU? Or is it the way the game left and when it was sunsetted? And is it for those people?
I'm not sure. You know what? I really don't know. I know that towards the sunset, when the game was about to close down, it was a lot closer to what it used to be than whenever the NGE came out. But yeah, I don't know if Smedley has a firm grasp on what attracted people to SWG. Maybe he does. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and I hope that I am completely wrong.
Well, the other big question in that, and the other big factor in that equation is, so if you designed it, let's say you got the design sort of right for the SWG player, right? The vet.
Yeah.
Would they come home if it wasn't Star Wars?
Well, that's the thing. That's a big thing for me, is that I liked the game itself, but I also, about half of the reason I played that game was because it was Star Wars, and it's definitely the reason I stuck with that game during its horrible years. So yeah,
So I'm kind of going off the rails here a second, but here's like a question. So for somebody like you, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with this title or not. Same thing for Laura. I don't know if you, but are you guys following the repopulation?
Yes.
No.
Okay, so that's a sci-fi MMO. There's no IP behind it. Like, you know, it's not built off of anything, but it's very much like being sort of coined the next Star Wars galaxies. Like a lot of the things they're trying to make. So I don't know. Are Star Wars players going to play the repopulation?
I think
because
a lot of them
like that. Would you go to generic
I think a lot
MMO?
of them are. Yeah, I think a lot of them are going to gravitate towards it. At least try it out. I'm really hoping that. I'm really hoping that they can pull it off. That the team over there can do it. I have a few doubts just because it's indie. Because
it's always hard to full on.
Yeah, it's just the nature of indie. I mean, if you think about SWG came out and it was not an indie game. This was a AAA game, and they launched and couldn't get things right in 8 years. And you got this indie company trying to do something very similar. So
you think we'll hear about? You
wish
think we'll
them
hear
the
about,
best of luck.
You think we'll hear?
I think it really depends on which of my friends are playing to see whether or not I would try it out.
That's all that matters, right? Isn't that really the end of the day?
I mean, that's really why I play anything, is because of the people that I normally game with.
That's the MMO trick. How do you get all your friends playing?
So if everybody was going to go try it out, then I might try it out too.
Do you think we'll hear anything at SOE Live from Sony on this new Star Wars? I keep calling it Star Wars. It's not Star Wars. I don't know what else to call it. I don't have anything else to call it except, you know.
SWG, welcome home. There you go.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
I don't know. I hope we hear something more about it, and it's not just a teaser of, oh, well, that's for another day.
I mean, we've got so much to talk about. I don't know. Another topic. All right. It's interesting. Going to be interesting to see. We'll see what. I can't wait to hear more. There's so many questions. I mean, that's why it lit the internet on fire last week, especially on the MMO, and Gamebreaker went nuts when they saw us, and everybody just started speculating, and everything got thrown around. So we now know. The only thing we do know is that it is not a Star Wars IP. That's all we know.
Right.
That's it.
That's all we know. It's it. Zero.
Well,
we do know it might. Wait, hold on. There's one other thing we might know.
What?
We might know the name of it.
Really?
Yeah. It might be. There's two possibilities, because SOE has trademarked two different names.
Oh.
That might be associated. One of them is H1Z1, which is zombie. Okay, which might be zombie related. The other one is Strum and Drang, which
what is it?
Strum and Drang is Strum and Drang. I don't know how to say it. It's German. STURMENDRANG. Strum and Drang. And what
I would say, throw that name out the window, because he can't even spell it.
No,
I had
no,
to ask him 3 times what it is. That is enough of a litmus test to just throw that name out the window. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
playing this game. What? I'm playing
It's called
Oh, how do I find that? ZVI5215X. I don't know.
Yeah, it basically means it's storm and drive is what it means. It's German. It basically there was an opera based up with that name, but other than that, it just really means to strive forward. Is really all that.
How about they call it Space
name
Garage?
means.
Space Garage 2018.
I actually would yeah, I'd buy Space.
I'd buy Space Garage 2018. That's about what it would come out.
Yeah.
All right, next up is a petition for BioWare to let cybertechs do their job, because if there's one thing that gets MMO developers scared, it's a petition. Am I right?
That's right.
So
Yeah.
they got that Bieber petition
shaking in their
too.
boots.
Kind of like
Yeah.
writing a strongly worded
Yeah.
letter.
Yes. Bieber
To the
might get
fax
deported
machine.
from petition, so BioWare definitely should be listening to get cybertechs to do their job. The complaint is kind of understandable, though. So cybertechs make speeds, but they haven't gotten any new schematics since launch. Where are all the speeders coming
I'm
from?
on board with that.
Where are all the speeders coming from? The cartel
They're in the cartel market.
Of course.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah,
of
right.
course.
Not just in the cartel market, they're on lottery packs.
Right.
Oh, even better.
See, I just finished a podcast with Massively where we talked about economy, and this kind of stuff is some of the stuff that just burns economies. And I am totally on board with this guy that is complaining about cybertechs not doing anything, because if they could make these speeders, or hell, reverse engineer these speeders. I don't care if they're on the packs at first. At least be able to do something with them. You know, maybe they can reverse engineer and make their own speeders, whatever. At least get the economy turning to where you can rely on your crafters to do something. Because there's people that like the crafting game. Believe it or not, MMOs have crafting, and people like it, and do something about it.
Laura, how
I really
is the
thought that
crafting?
cybertechs just made grenades for PvP.
That was it. That's all their only job.
I mean,
you got
the
one
only
job, make a grenade.
That's all I made. For grenades.
Laura, how's BioWare, do you think, sort of treated crafters in general since launch?
Kind of poorly. I mean, I'm not a huge crafting fan myself, so it's not as huge a deal to me. But I know a lot of people that really enjoy crafting. They really enjoy playing the auction house. There's not really a whole lot to it. I mean, it's really basic, and they really kind of got the short end of the stick. There's only a few things that you can really throw up there that I see that make a lot of money. I mean, Artificer was another one that was pretty terrible, that didn't have a whole lot until they got dyes. So I can understand for the people that want to sit there and craft and want to do something with it and want it to be meaningful. It's really not.
Lara, what did you guys come up with on your show? Do you guys think that we'll see more of a focus on crafting this year, or do you think that it's kind of getting pushed a little bit to the side?
I know in MMOs in general, we're probably leaning towards crafting. I would think. I mean, especially with EQ Next and Landmark coming out, and all these other Star Citizens, all these games that like kind of revolve around a rich economy. And I hope that I hope the Star Wars, the Old Republic, latches onto this, that the guys see that, we should probably jump in on this bandwagon and get some of these guys that like crafting into our game. I mean, after all, we have the Star Wars IP, right? So let's do something about that. And I would venture a guess that it's going to be housing. If Star Wars were going to do it, it's going to be housing, and that's where you're going to start seeing the crafters really come out of the woodwork. I'm hoping.
I know crafters would be happy with it. That is for sure.
Praying to the Force.
Our peers would be happy too to start getting some really good housing. So, all right, I got some more topics to go over, but first I want to tell you guys about a fantastic deal we got going on with Audible. If you guys have not checked it out, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go right now. Sign up, make an account. Gonna hook you up with a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook just by using the URL audible.com/gamebreaker. That's the URL you're gonna want to use to support Gamebreaker, support the Audible, and a brand new Star Wars book that just dropped 2 days ago, January 28th. Brand new Star Wars book Maul lockdown. Take a listen.
The creature by its throat, hoisting it up over his head and squeezing until he felt the deep tendons of its neck beginning to give and weaken in his grip. There was a wet, muffled click from somewhere inside the thing's chest, and a sudden glut of warm, thick, sticky fluid began spurting up from its throat. Blood. Jet black. The sight of it gave Maul no satisfaction. Only the vaguely annoying realization that it never should have taken him this long to turn the battle to his advantage.
Blood. Check it out! Brand new. Just hit Audible like 48 hours ago. Star Wars Maul Lockdown. Search for it. Check it out. Just use the URL audible.com/gamebreaker. Go over, sign up, make an account, download the app, put it on your iOS or Android device. Put it on your iPad. I have it on both my iPad and my iPhone. Grab some headphones. Get lost. Jonathan Davis, fantastic narrator. That book clocks in at about 12 and a half hours. Great choice. Tons of Star Wars books on there. A lot of the Star Wars The Old Republic books and a ton of the Star Wars books in general. So do a search. Check it out. There's a lot of good stuff. A lot of good sci-fi stuff on there as well. Stranger in a Strangeland is another one we've been talking about. Classic. Awesome book. Check it out today. Audible.com/gamebreaker. All right, next up, pretty simple topic. Nerf gunships.
Yeah.
Why are gunships seeing so much hate? What's going on?
It's only because bombers haven't made it into the game yet.
Is that what it is?
wait until Tuesday. Nobody's going to be complaining about gunships. It's going to be all bomber hate.
Is that what it is? It's just like, is this early on hatred?
Nobody likes the sniper.
I think that I think our friend Kyle in our guild would tell these guys to learn to play, but there is a little bit of truth to what's being said, and I think we talked about it on an earlier episode where gunships can basically what they can do is they can hit you, slow you down, hit you again, you're dead. Is really and that's yeah. I mean there are countermeasures to it, but I think I don't think they need to be nerfed per se. I think that some of the other ships might need to be brought up to their level. And and saying that I don't like to be one shot. Well, apparently these guys haven't played enough first-person shooters because that's about all one shots happen all the time. And
I mean, is this more of like an evolving meta game? I mean, can you spec out your ships to be able to deal with gunships, or is it just there's really no? Oh, you can.
Absolutely, yes, you can. But the thing is, you have to do that. You have to spec out your ship to deal with gunships. I think that like you said, it is an evolving metagame, and it's really I'm watching it kind of peripherally because this isn't my main focus of the game. But we definitely have a couple people in our guild that are into Galactic Starfighter a whole lot, and it is an interesting metagame. And there are ways to take on gunships that kind of wreck them. To be honest, I mean, you can slow them down. You can slow them down beyond what they already are. They're already pretty slow. You can bypass their shields and all sorts of different things. And anything, and quite honestly, anything you can do to keep the gunship from firing at your friendly targets, then you're doing your job, even if you don't take them out.
And it's just like regular PvP. I mean, you got to spend the time to level your ship up.
So you think this is mostly just QQ of like not being able to know how to play?
I think that could be some of it, but I mean, the gunships are supposed to be the sniper turret. Like, man, I don't get why people are crying about it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of learn to play, a little bit. There is I didn't really realize how much of a I don't want to call it let's call it a progression curve that there is. There is a pretty steep progression curve. I did not realize when this game was in beta just how nuanced you can make your ship so that it you can like one-shot people or evade things really quickly or fire faster and those kinds of things that that really make your ship seem extremely powerful.
Here's something else that people are wondering about, which is pretty interesting. The next thing people are talking about and commenting on passive evasion. Apparently, it's a really big deal, and it's kind of weird. Like I never thought about in a dogfighting game that usually it's more based on skill, but the thread talks about ships having a passive evasion as high as like 41%, which sounds awfully like a lot. What do you guys think of this? I mean, is this something that needs to be tweaked?
Well, there you go. Evasion, so you don't get one shot by the gunship.
There you go. That's what you do. That's how you avoid getting one shot. Is passive evasion. Yeah, a little bit. I think that might be a bit much, and Laura actually is kind of correct when that is one way to kind of avoid the gunship fire. I mean, obviously that doesn't work 100% of the time. It works 41% of the time. But I think this also alludes to the alludes to the bombers coming out as well, because your evasion percentage is going to help a lot against like NPC kind of fighting. Yeah. So yes, I do kind of wish that it didn't have this kind of mechanic, but at the same time, the existing mechanics besides that aren't what's it? You can't like run around a meteor and not get missiled. I mean, if they've got a lock on you, they're hitting you. And so there's little nuanced mechanics like that make evasion kind of important.
It's kind of an interesting thing. I mean, I know it's an MMO and we all like our like abilities and stats and things like passive abilities make sense, but I don't know. It's like Galactic Starfighter is kind of like a mini game. And it's dogfighting, and I'm not really sure I totally understand why it's a part of that portion of the game. Like, it just doesn't. Evasion should be like, are you fast enough to move out of my laser fire? That should be evasion.
Yeah, it makes the game less twitchy, and that is a little bit annoying when you're looking for a twitchy game.
Well,
boost shields, boost armor. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I guess it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Unfortunately.
Laura Williams. Follow her on Twitter at VoidMinx, VoidMynx. And right here every Thursday on The Republic. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Good to be here.
Did you get a new camera, by the way?
No. I was futzing around with the settings on it and jacked it up, and now I can't get it back to how it was.
I think it looks great. No, I thought I was going to say it looks better. Like, it looks really good.
Oh. Well, good. Yay.
I thought you had a new camera.
Oh, and somebody asked earlier, my shirt says Abercrombie Blonde Bombers.
It's her team, yo.
Yep.
Everybody getting ready for Super Bowl? You getting ready for Super Bowl?
No, I'm ready for the 2014 draft because my team is not in the Super Bowl.
I didn't know who was playing the Super Bowl. I'm having a Super Bowl party. I don't even know who's playing. That's how I roll.
The Seahawks and the Broncos.
But see, I even knew that.
We'll have chicken wings and beer.
That's what people do.
Larry Everett, follow him on Twitter, Shadow SHADDOE, and of course go over to masterly.com and check out the Hyperspace Beacon. What are you talking about this week?
I'm talking about this week, and next week I'm talking about how to play a better Sith.
How to play a better Sith. There you go. Check it out, Hyperspace Beacon. You can follow me at Gary Gannon. Follow Gamebreaker TV at Gamebreaker TV. Check out our new shows, Gamebreaker. New show called Gamebreaker. It's live on Thursday nights as well. Thursdays nights are packed at Gamebreaker for the live shows. Come on over. We start at 6 here with the Republic. Then we do Legendary at 8. And then we do Gamebreaker at 9. So it's a fun night. Also, check out This Week in Steam with Kat Andrusko. New show got going on. And join the Gamebreaker Nation. Go over to GamebreakerNation.com and join the fastest growing multi-gaming guild on the net. GamebreakerNation.com. Click the apply button. Super easy. Tons of people playing all different games. Star Wars, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, you name it. There's people playing it. So go check it out today. Have a great week, guys. And we'll see you next week for some more Star Wars.